Hi, welcome to Sweet Dreams Wellness Travel. I am Barbara Tuckett, your host and the owner of Sweet Dreams Travel. I am a wellness travel specialist. I believe that our mind, body, and spirit all play into our well-being, and I create travel experiences which improve your wellness so that you return from your vacation with more health, more happiness, and more connection, both with those you've traveled with and also with your destination. In these episodes, I explore travel and wellness experiences, giving you ideas and recommendations, and also interviewing people who have firsthand experience of the places where you may want to go next. Welcome, let's get started. Hey, how are you doing today? Hope you're doing great. I don't know, I'm recording this in the spring, so I don't know how your spring weather is going where you are, but where I am, it is completely crazy. It still feels like winter. We're at the end of March right now. Still feels like winter, and yet occasionally we'll have a little bright spot of a little bit warmer weather. So I don't know. It's just crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay, let's jump in and get started with today's episode. And today's topic is all about European river cruises. And I'm going to talk about a comparison of European river cruise lines. They are not all the same. You might think that a river cruise is a river cruise is a river cruise. Not true. They are quite different. They have some similarities, of course, but they are different in a lot of ways. I was recently at the ASTA River Cruise Line Expo, or a conference, which is for travel advisors. ASTA stands for American Society of Travel Advisors, which I am a part of, and they hosted a River Cruise Line Expo, a conference for us for several days. It was in Budapest, Hungary, on the Danube River, and it was so great, so fun to be there. I already have a good knowledge base of river cruises. I have sold them for years. I've experienced river cruising, but I really wanted to get more of a sense of the similarities and the differences and just some of the nuances with the different river cruise lines and the actual ships. And I totally got that. It was awesome. It was a very successful trip for me in getting to know a lot of products better and more in depth. It was fun because they hosted us. If you wanted to, you could actually stay on one of the river cruise ships. They were just docked the whole time. They didn't sail anywhere during our conference, but you could stay on one of the ships, which I did. And that was awesome. I chose to stay on one that I hadn't sailed on before. And so it was fun. It was just really great to get an in-depth look and viewpoint and just be able to compare, plus to get to wander around and look at and get a really up close view of all the different cruise lines that were there. So there were 6 cruise lines that were there. They were AmaWaterways, Amadeus River Cruises, Avalon Waterways, so they're the 3 A's. There was also Riverside Luxury Cruises, which Riverside Luxury Cruises was formerly Crystal Cruises. I'll talk about that in a little bit when I focus on them. And Scenic Luxury Cruises and Viking River Cruise. So those are the ones that were there. They all had at least one ship there. Some of the cruise lines had 2, and one of the cruise lines even had 3 ships there. So anyway, it was just amazing to get to tour all of them and see all of them and just really have an up close and personal hands-on experience with these different river cruise lines. So I'm going to talk about each one that was there, each cruise line that was there in depth a little bit more, but just to kind of give an overview, a general overview of river cruising in general. River cruising is a luxury product overall. And there is a saying that ocean cruises take you to countries and river cruises take you through them, which I think is a really great description of the differences. You know, with an ocean cruise, you go to a port, which is on the ocean. And with a river cruise, you sail right through the middle of the country down the river. I love with any kind of a cruise that you can unpack once and get to see and do a whole bunch of things while you're there. So it's just a really luxurious feeling to unpack once on a river cruise and then get to visit all of these little towns and villages and the cathedrals and get to like experience the culture and just have this amazing service and luxury experience all while you are getting to be immersed in the countries and cities and towns and villages and everything that's there. So meals are included on river cruises, excursions are available, onboard entertainment and service are wonderful. In another episode, I will possibly talk about the differences between river and ocean cruising. That's a subject for another day. But river cruising is quite different. The river cruise ships hold a lot smaller number of people, where ocean cruise ships hold hundreds, mostly thousands of people. River cruise ships hold, at the very most, the largest one that I know of holds about 250 people. On average, the river cruise ships hold 150 to 190-ish is about the average. So it's a lot smaller, more intimate experience to go on a river cruise. Okay, so that's just kind of river cruising in general. And now let's jump in and talk about the highlights and the differences, I guess, the things that I noticed with the different cruise lines that were there. So the first one, Viking. Viking is the cruise line, river cruise line that everybody has heard about. They have a huge advertising budget. And if you've ever watched Downton Abbey, or they're kind of in league with PBS, and so they do a lot of advertising there. Anyway, you probably most likely have either gotten a mailer or have seen advertising from Viking, because they just spend a lot of money on advertising so that people will know their name, and it works. Everybody knows them. A Viking ship is the one that I stayed on because I had not ever sailed on Viking previously, and it was amazing. It was wonderful. Viking has over 70 river cruise ships. They have some ocean cruise ships as well, and so their total number of cruise ships is around 100. It's almost 100, but over 70 of them are river cruise ships. So they are everywhere. All of their cruise ships are identical. If you have been on one, you could have been on any one of them. They're completely identical. They may have a little bit different color scheme. The pillows may be different colors, or the chairs may be different colors, but the ships themselves are completely 100% identical. They do that on purpose. They want you to feel the same on any ship that you are on of theirs. And they're patterned after a luxury longship from Scandinavia. They really do come from Scandinavia originally. Their ideal market, Viking's ideal market, is people over 50. They make no bones about that. And on their cruises, they include one excursion per day in their pricing, and you can pay for extras if you would like. They offer a variety of onboard activities, different things to do and see. One thing to note about Viking is they do not have a gym and they do not have a spa on board, which many of the other river cruise ships do. They offer buffet options for breakfast, buffet options for lunch, and then at lunch, you could also have a table menu. Dinner is always served from a menu. And one amazing takeaway from Viking that I don't think any of the other cruise lines do is that Viking has heated bathroom floors. They're not so hot that you notice the heat necessarily, but it feels amazing in the morning when you wake up and you walk in there. Just this lovely, comfortable heat, or when you get out of the shower. It's just, yeah. So that is a really, really great touch that Viking has. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Riverside Luxury Cruises. So Riverside Luxury Cruises is a really as compared to Viking with, over 70 river cruise line ships. Riverside has 2 currently. Riverside is a brand new river cruising company. They took over the former Crystal Cruise Line ships. And so Crystal went out of business during COVID. And so they had these ships for sale, and Riverside took over their ships. And so they're a brand new cruise company. So they're, a lot smaller, and they have the idea and the demographic that they want to attract a younger crowd, all ages, but a younger crowd rather than not so much just looking for the demographic that Viking is. They offer a variety of active and also less active excursions. So depending on what you're feeling like that day, they include lots of bikes. They have a huge row of bikes on their top deck that people can take out, including a couple of e-bikes. They have 2 barbecue grills on the upper deck, which I thought was really fun. We didn't ever see them in use while we were there, but they do use them to grill burgers and fun hot dogs and fun things up on that top deck. They also are offering shorter 3- and 4-day cruises rather than the traditional 7 or longer day cruises. They have fantastic suites. I did not show a picture of the suite, but oh my goodness, the suite on the Riverside ship was the best suite I saw in the whole entire place, with all 9 or so cruise ships that I was on in Budapest. The suite on the luxury Riverside ship was amazing. It even had a fireplace in this suite. It was so mind-boggling. Anyway, so if you are looking for a really top-of-the-line suite on a river cruise, I know where to send you. One interesting side note about the Riverside ships is they don't have traditional balconies that you walk out onto a balcony, but they all are what's called French balconies. A French balcony still has the sliding glass door, and it's got the railing, but you don't step out onto the balcony. You just open the doors, and the open air is right there. So that is Riverside. Next one, let's move on to Scenic Luxury Cruises. So Scenic wants to be known as and touts themselves as a full luxury experience. Their pricing includes a lot of extras. For example, complimentary door-to-door transportation, all excursions, unlimited drinks throughout the day, as well as the onboard gratuities. Of course, they also include food and, the normal things. They have a variety of options for excursions, including they do a few a little bit extra types of things, like maybe private concerts or behind the scenes type tours, things like that, that some of the other cruise lines don't offer quite as in-depth. On board, they have massages, they have a whirlpool, and oh my goodness, they have a salt room. I am so not kidding. This is, if you can see my picture, if you're watching the video, the little orange tiled wall, that is the salt room, a picture of the salt room. It is incredible. Salt all over the floor, and you just can walk in there and sit, and it's just so dry, and you can just breathe the salt and get all of the healing energy and all of the healing components from the salt room. I had never even imagined that there would be such a thing on a river cruise ship, because remember, these are smaller ships. They have to fit down the river. They can't be huge like ocean cruise ships. Anyway, I was so blown away by that. They provide independent walking tours on their app for people who don't want a guided excursion, which I think is kind of fun, because if you've been to that city before and you don't want the guided excursion, you could just look on your app and have, take your own independent walking tour. They also offer a single small solo cabin for a 1 person, and they also have a wheelchair accessible cabin on board on each ship. So that is pretty cool about Scenic. They also have a butler for each passenger on board. So they really, really are catering to this amazing luxury crowd with a lot of the things that they do. Okay, let's move to Avalon. Avalon, I think, in my opinion, there are three best things about Avalon. And they all have to do with the room. One is their rooms have a view. All of their rooms, they have made all of their rooms so that the bed, if you are sitting on the bed, you have a perfect view out the window. So they have this floor to ceiling window on one whole wall, and you have a floor to ceiling view of the view. And so that is cool. They also have the second thing that is, I think, pretty amazing about Avalon is they have extra comfortable beds. And the third thing is they have roomy bathrooms because of the way that they have set up their rooms. The bathroom covers the whole entire wall back behind where the bed is. And so it's actually roomier than a lot of other cruise ships or river cruise ship bathrooms. So those are pretty amazing. They also include one excursion per day, similar to what Viking does. Usually that one excursion is like the walking tour of the town or city, like Viking's. They also do have extra tours available for purchase if you wanted to do additional ones, also like Viking. Avalon has a fitness center. They have bikes, including e-bikes, and they have a self-service water station on board, which I thought was a really nice touch. And the water station, it can give you cold water or hot water or ambient room temperature water for those who like to drink a room temperature water. So I thought that was a really nice touch. Also, Avalon offers active and discovery cruises. Not every single one is active and discovery, but they do have some active and discovery cruises, and those offer more in-depth, I guess, insight and activity in the areas that they visit. So I actually did a previous episode about active and discovery cruises, so I will link to that in the show notes. Okay, the next cruise line is Amadeus River Cruises. And the standouts from Amadeus for me were every single cabin on board has a walk-in closet. I kid you not. It didn't matter if it was like the smallest cabin with, just a couple of little windows and no balcony or anything. It still had a walk-in closet. Every single one, clear up to, the suites. They have a good sized shower. They also have a gym, a massage room, and onboard bikes. They operate on kind of a pay-as-you-go idea for excursions. So if you want to do an excursion, you pay for it. If you don't want to do an excursion, you do not. So similar to an ocean cruise that you just decide the excursions you want and pay for them after, you've booked your cruise. This is kind of fun. They have a weekly pirate night. And I don't know of any other river cruise line or river cruise ship that does like a themed night like this. So I think that's pretty fun. That anybody who wants to can dress up like pirates. And anyway, it's just a fun night that they have. As far as their drinks go that are included, water is included at breakfast and at lunch. Water and wine are included at dinner, but then any additional drinks on top of that you will pay for. Another fun, kind of interesting, I guess, sidelight or fact about Amadeus is that because they are an Austrian-based company, they have a lot of nationalities that sail with them. So you will not necessarily be sailing with all North American other cruisers like a lot of these other cruise lines cater to. Okay. Last but not least is AmaWaterways. AmaWaterways is one of the cruise lines that had 3 ships, and it was so fun to get to see the 3 ships. They are similar, but they also each have their own little differences, and it was really fun. One of the cruise ships that was there with Ama is their huge, big flagship, amazing ship called the Magna, which is a double wide cruise ship. So most cruise ships have to be a certain width so that they can fit on the rivers, especially the smaller rivers. And the biggest thing is they have to be able to go through the locks, which a lot of rivers in Europe have locks. And so the Magna, the way that she gets around this is she only sails on the Danube and the large rivers in Europe. So that is, you know, her home. She doesn't go on the smaller rivers, but she is huge. She is double wide the width of a regular cruise ship. And yet she is the one that only has where a normal AmaWaterways cruise ship usually has around 140 or 150 guests max. AmaWaterways does not double that. She does not have 300. She still only has about 250 at the most. And so that is really nice because she's got some nice open spaces. She's got extra restaurants. Anyway, there's just a lot of really amazing things that they have done with the Magna. Okay. With AmaWaterways in general, all of your excursions are included. So it doesn't matter which excursions you pick from the many available ones every day. They are all included, and you can change your mind at the last minute. If you decide at the last second that, that other one sounded more fun than the one that I chose, you can totally switch and go on a different one. On board, water and drinks are plentiful. Bottled water is replenished in your room daily. They also offer soft drinks, coffee, tea, beer, and wine. With meals, they have a happy hour every evening where they have complimentary drinks. So yes, you will pay surcharges for some premium drinks and extras and things like that. But really, I love that the water and the drinks are plentiful on board. You really will not expect to have to pay a lot more for those. They also have, besides having a gym, a spa, and bikes, they also have a wellness specialist on board, a dedicated wellness specialist. Avalon also has a wellness specialist on board, but those are the only two cruise lines that I know of that actually have a person that is the wellness person. So I love that about them. They also I have sailed on AmaWaterways before, and they have amazing free Wi-Fi. So you do not pay for the Wi-Fi, and it is fast and wonderful. So that is a great thing about AmaWaterways. They also do not offer any buffet meals at all. They have all a la carte. So you order off the menu and your food is served fresh. They only use refrigerators for ice cream or frozen things like ice cream, not for their food. Their food is fresh and prepared fresh every day. They also, one interesting thing about AmaWaterways is they have some cruises that you can bring families, and you can bring kids from ages 4 and up. So that is a really cool thing. They partner with Adventures by Disney, and they have some cruises that are really geared toward families. So that's really cool. One thing to note, though, about AmaWaterways, they don't have like kids clubs and things like that, like no river cruise line does. And so if you were bringing your family on a river cruise, it's more for the experiences that you're doing together, not a chance to like, I'm sending my child to the kids club so that I can do what I want to all day long. So that's kind of the idea. So I cannot help but just invite you, if you are listening to this before October of 2023, if you want to sample a river cruise, come with me. I am going on one and inviting you to come with me if you would like to. It's in October. October 14th is when it starts. Begins in Paris, ends at the beaches of Normandy, sailing on the Seine River. And it is on AmaWaterways, which was this most recent cruise line that I just talked about, the last one. And I would be happy to give you more information if you would like more information about that. So before I finish, I just have a little sidelight. Of course, I want to highlight Budapest a little bit. That was where I was staying. And by the way, there were over 500 of us travel advisors that were there in town for this conference. And Budapest did an amazing job of hosting us. I feel like Budapest is this complete hidden gem. It is a beautiful old European city. They have ties to Vienna, historical ties to Vienna. Vienna and Budapest were once the two capitals in this Austrian-Hungarian land that was all one big country. And they had two capitals. One was Vienna and one was Budapest. And so they really share a lot of history with the arts, with music, and that type of background. Budapest has tons of old world charm. They've got all these cathedrals. They've got the cobblestones. They've got the amazing views, because on one side of the city is up on the hill and you can just see over and have these amazing views of the river and the whole other side of the city. And just there, it's an amazing place. I loved it. Great history, good food, an amazing river, which is the Danube. It's not that blue like the song says, but it is this big, beautiful river and beautiful hotels. So it's incredible. Beautiful, tons and tons of Insta-worthy picture-taking spots. It's just amazing. Like everywhere you look, there's places to take these incredible pictures. So I love Budapest and would highly recommend visiting. Okay, as you can tell, I really loved my in-depth look at river cruise ships. It was fantastic. Let me know if you are interested in planning a river cruise in the future. Pricing is usually available like up to 1.5 to 2 years out. I have seen prices already. I'm recording this in 2023. I have seen some pricing for as early 2025 already. And so, yes, there is pricing available way far in advance that you can put down a deposit and then, just pay it as you go, or wait until, the final payment is due and then pay that off. So pricing is available pretty far out, and you can decide that that's what you want to do and get your deposit down. Christmas markets on river cruise ships sell out super fast, especially. So if you are wanting to do a Christmas market, there's not much availability already for this year for Christmas, a little bit, but not a ton. So if you wanted to do a Christmas market this year, hurry and get a hold of me and we'll, talk, and I'll let you know what's available. But you may want to reserve a Christmas market cruise for next year. That would be great. So whatever you like, I hope you have seen that there is a river cruise which is right for you. That there's a river cruise that is a perfect fit, no matter what your taste or what your price point or what you're looking for. So thanks for listening and for being with me today. Hopefully you got some good info. It was fun for me to share it with you and tell you all about my experience in Budapest and with these river cruise lines. Thanks for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share, subscribe, or leave a review. If you'd like to contact me about a vacation, the best way is to visit my website, sweetdreamstravel.net. To connect on social media, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, or LinkedIn. See you next time.